Welcome back to Comic Shop Talk, everybody, on the Late Night Collectors community. I'm your host, Nico, and joining with me today, as always, is my co-host, Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Today, we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of January 11th, 2023. Well into the new year now. We're kind of starting off strong. Last week was pretty good. I think some of the entries we talked about, and there's some more today, actually, that we're going to be talking about, at least for me. I'm interested to talk about some of these things here today. Guys, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button and hit the notification bell to be notified of when these videos do come out weekly. You can follow us on Instagram as well, at Late Night Collectors Community. That's kind of where you would get all your updates as to when the videos are going to drop. And we try to get that out, either on Friday or Saturday every week. Sometimes shit happens. It comes out maybe a little bit late. I do update the shows with the show notes to help navigate you through the episode. If there's only certain things you want to hear us talk about, you don't have to sit here and watch the whole thing. Just kind of tune in and, check out certain issues that we may talk about. But be forewarned, spoiler warning for you guys there. We do talk about the contents of the book. We do show off the art in the book. Some big spoilers we try to stay away from if it can be helped, but, we're here to talk about the book. So we unfortunately, sometimes we got to get into those details as well. So just be forewarned. You can always read your books and then come back if you're checking this show out and you haven't checked out everything as of yet. All right, Chris. That all being said, though, I got a special beer here today. I got a Left Blanc. Watch out.
Oh, get fancy.
To pop this one off. Okay, so do your thing there, man.
All right, cheers. Let's talk comics.
Cheers. Yeah. Yeah, getting fancy. Watch out. All right, talking about fancy boy artist here on Nemesis Reloaded #2. Wait a second.
What?
I've read a future issue, everybody. Nemesis Reloaded #1. There we go. It is the sequel, though. Oh, you got the physical copy. I read this one online. I'm gonna pick up the trade paperback for sure, though, because I'm gonna be reading this one online. But I need this on the shelf. Absolutely. I read the first Nemesis. I was a big fan. Actually, hold on. Where is it? There you go. It's within arm's reach.
Oh, nice.
This is the first Nemesis, everybody. Chris, definitely check this out if you can find this. Read it online digitally.
Yeah, I might look it up once I read this.
Yeah, it's a nice little 5-issue miniseries as well, like kind of Mark Miller does. They're all these short kind of stories that he does that doesn't take a big investment to check them out.
Who's the artist in the first series?
Steve McNiven, who did Old Man Logan. He's really good artist as well. This guy always gets top talent. You don't have to
for sure.
That with Mark Miller. He pays these guys well.
This guy seems to be all over the place right now, though, Mark Miller.
Yeah.
He's like starting up some Miller universe or something like that. I don't know. I was reading some stuff about him.
Yeah. So what'd you think of this, Chris?
I thought it was great. Nice violent, bloody comic where he's going all over the place. It's nice to see a non-PG type of comic. I thought it was great. Not much of a, well, I don't want to say not much of a story, but a bit of a crazy story there with the pool and I guess whatever his plans are. They kind of tease a big payoff at the end, and the way he's going about it is it's pretty brutal.
Well, yeah, like you pointed out, like this first series was the same way, ultra violent, no holds barred, like not apologetic. Like this story is about a mastermind villain, and for once, the villain is fucking kicking ass, and he's 10 steps ahead of everybody, and he's just crazy. He's like a sociopath. This guy, like he's a he goes on these murdering sprees. He always has these crazy, intricate plans for everybody. He hates kind of politicians, as evidenced in the first series as well. Like he hates like authority of any sort, police, as you can tell in this.
He doesn't like police, that's for sure.
Yeah. So like this stays true to kind of what this is supposed to be. This series, and like it's kind of nice and to see that. Because you never see the villains kind of come out on top. In the first series, if this continues, that trend was evidence of that. It seems like they kind of took him down in the first series, but nope, he survived, and here he is again. Here we are.
Yeah. So do heroes go up against them, or is it basically just him sort of like going up against the police and the
police? In the first one, it was the police. Yeah. I think the thing is, I think that they established, I might be mistaken because it's been a while since I've read it, but in the first series, I think they established the fact that there were heroes, but they're all dead now. So
No,
like this guy is kind of just running free as far as I understand.
yeah, there's no superhero to stop him. Does he
No,
have any superpowers really, or is he just like a badass?
he's just a badass. He just
Okay.
like he's like a Batman. Like he's always 10 steps ahead. He's like
Yeah.
a well-trained fighter. He's good with weapons. Well, I mean, unlike that, I mean, he is too, but he just never really uses them. But
Yeah.
yeah, so he's like, on top of his game and like different skill levels and different martial art, like
Yeah. He's like a John Wick or something like that.
yeah, but they don't really get into it. Like they really, like a lot of the Mark Miller stuff, and that's why some people, I guess, criticize some of his stuff. Like I said, they kind of as he has the Miller World kind of deal now with Netflix. A lot of his shit just reads like a movie script, like they're pitches essentially, but they're like they're very surface level. But listen, he hooks up with kick-ass artists. His books are quick, they're fun. Like I like his stuff, man. Yeah, I had no problem with this. I thought it was a great first issue.
Yeah, that's a great first issue too. I'm looking in. I'm glad it's only 5 issues, so you're not you don't have to decide. Oh, I gotta get into another series. It's gonna be 5 issues, fun and done.
I thought the Jimenez art looked a little different than what his stuff on Batman was, but still really good. But I felt like there was like a fluidity to it, like all like the speed of the art. Like it seemed like it was a little more like, I don't want to say rushed because the art was still excellent, but it was like it looked. I don't know. It kind of conveyed the storyline. I think like just all the action and movement that was happening in this issue. Like it's hard to describe, but it looked a little different. I think less polished, let's say, than
I'd say that maybe the colors or something. The
maybe it was
inkers were different. Who knows?
yeah. So it looked a little different, I think, than his Batman stuff, but it still looked great. I mean, yeah, it's money.
No complaints about that.
Yeah. So what'd you give this one then?
I'll give it a 3.75. Like, it was nothing earth shattering. It's just, uber violent, which is different for me, but still nothing, out of the, like, it's like mind blowing.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback you with that one too, actually. I was going to possibly give it a 4, but you're right. There wasn't too much to this issue, but I enjoyed it. I'm going to be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to big things coming from this too. So that's kind of tempering my scores, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got the Human Target number 10. I got this cover here. I quite liked this issue. Did you want to start with this one, or you want me to start out?
No, I can go ahead with it. I just read this online. I've been sort of in and out of this series. Now that it's coming to an end, I thought I'd kind of catch up with what's going on, and I thought it was pretty decent issue myself.
Yeah, so did I. I really liked this. I thought it was a really excellent issue. I mean, I think that this is probably my favorite thing that Tom King has done in some time. It certainly feels like with the pacing of this series and the way that it's gone so far, he's going to stick the landing because we got 2 more issues to go. And it does seem like it's coming to the conclusion. This is, I forgot what this guy's name was again. He's one of the Green Lanterns, Nat or something like that. What the hell's his name? Let me see here.
It reminds me of the Wookiee from like what's that? What was that satire of Star Wars? With the Darth helmet, Spaceballs. Yeah, that's it.
John Candy played him. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I can't remember his name, but anyways, this guy's like a Green Lantern. He's like one of the lesser known, let's say, lanterns. Sure. And I'm guessing that he's from that period of time of the Justice League, that Justice League International, and this era of the Justice League members that are showing up in this book of the late 80s, early 90s, like the post-crisis Justice League. I'm sure he popped up in that run at some point. I'm not too familiar with him, but he is one of the lanterns. And they have all kinds of different weird creature lanterns, right? So this is the guy, every issue kind of sticking with the theme of this series. He's been kind of going to one of these Justice League members and kind of trying to investigate who's behind his eventual murder, the guy who poisoned him, essentially. And in this issue, there's a big revelation of the fact that Guy Gardner is actually not dead. And he explained it by some sort of like trick of the light with the ring that, that he somehow projected and made it seem like he actually got killed. when him and Ice basically killed him previously, like in a couple of issues ago, and that was a big kind of deal because that would have made these guys murderers, and meanwhile this guy's trying to investigate his murder. So I don't know, but I gotta say by the end of this, Ice looks awfully suspicious, and I mean if we're
Yep.
gonna we're gonna go by the themes and like the femme fatale type shit, like in a lot of these detective stories, it is the person that's closest to you or the person that the detective falls in love with. So like I would not be surprised if I don't know, it just seems so obvious. So maybe these next two issues we're gonna get quite a bit of a swerve, right? So I don't know what's gonna happen here. This scene was awesome when he threw up on the Guardian.
Yeah.
He got drunk and then they took him to Owa and he was trying to get him to go through some documents where he could find stuff out about Guy Gardner, right? And anyways, the eventual conclusion of this issue was that he tracked Guy Gardner down, and by the end of it, he had drugged Ice at the starting of this so she would be not in his way for because he only has like 3 days to live at the start of this issue, and he kind of didn't want her kind of in the way of things, so he fucking slipped her Mickey or something, and she fucking like passed out. And then by the end of it, he's just kind of like, yeah, so I found out, you guys tricked me essentially, and you told him to go into hiding. So he seemed very suspicious of her now by the end of this issue. He kind of is handing her the drink, and I guess we'll see what happens next. But yeah, it's just been an excellent series. I think the art's great, and it's been really well paced, and it's kept me guessing the whole way through. So
Yeah, and like you say, I think there's a swerve coming because they're making it too obvious that Ice is something,
yeah,
And I guess they're going to address that in the next issue, and maybe the end of that's going to be the swerve, and you're going to find out what's happening in the last issue.
yeah,
And I liked, like you say, I liked all those scenes where he was on Oa with the Guardian, and the way he tricks what's his name, Guy Gardner, when they're fighting. Does
yeah.
he jam a peanut in him because he finds out he has a peanut allergy? Get him to take off his ring, and then so I thought those were all decent, just decent story points that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, like, and the cool thing about this is that this guy's a regular dude. He just has to level the playing field, by with his smarts, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, and like
and
he's
you get a
even
little bit of history of him too, because when he's reading his file, you get a bit of I'm not familiar with him at all too, so it's good for people that may not
yeah.
be familiar with that character.
The way that he approached this character in this series, I feel like even being an obscure character as he is, I think it's been very successful in bringing you into his world and kind of introducing you to this guy and kind of what he's about. By pairing him up with familiar characters throughout the series as well. So like I think he's done like an excellent job of that. I can't say as much for another book I'll be talking about later on in the show here today that is also written by Tom King. So keep that in mind. But I will say in this book, that's why I've said it's probably one of my favorite things I've read by him. It's just been excellent. Like when the collection comes out of this, I'm definitely double dipping, and I'm going to pick up the hardcover of this that comes out because it's been great. So
Yeah,
what did you give this one?
yeah, I give it a 4. I thought it's really pulling you in.
Man, that's a strong issue, I think, for the series for me. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. This one, actually,
Yeah,
I really enjoyed this one. So, and again, like with a character, I not even the Green Lantern guy, I'm not really familiar with him. I don't even remember his name, right? But like, it was cool. It was
yeah.
fun.
Like I said, I just got pulled in from a few Art German variant covers. I might have read 2 or 3 issues, but now that it's coming to an end, I want to see how it plays out. And this is for a character that I really had no interest in. Beginning when when this first all came out.
Awesome. All right. Next up, Chris, Lazarus Planet Alpha #1.
Yeah, I just read this one online just to kind of see what's going on in the DC world. So I guess there's some magical rain that's pouring down over the earth, and all the heroes are trying to get together and figure out what's going on. I thought the art here I thought it was decent. I don't know if it's the same artist all the way through because it seems to like those first few pages kind of really caught me, and then I don't know if it kind of lags as it goes on, but just some of the story points, I don't know how they're all following Damian Wayne. He seems to be the leader of this. You got some pretty heavy duty heroes there, and they're all going to listen to freaking Damian Wayne, a little kid that was just 3 issues ago he was ready to kill Batman, and he's brainwashed and all that sort of stuff. But other than that, I think it's decent. But I'm not. I don't think I'll be buying any of this Lazarus Planet stuff because I feel just as they're going to figure out how to make the rain stop, and then that's the end of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how all these issues sort of tie into each other. And I think in the end here, basically there's a tease with Damian Wayne fighting someone that's not going to be kind of coming out till the Lazarus Planet Omega. So I don't know. I thought it was a decent story. I think there's something going on with Batman too, because he was pretty much he's still out of commission from the fight with Batman and Robin,
Right.
or the fight he had in Batman and Robin, and then at the end, I don't know if we're gonna show it there or something, but yeah, I think there, yeah, he gets almost like taken up by some almost spawn like or symbiote like.
It looks like Etrigan the Demon or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know what's
but he
going
says
on.
he's feeling fine, so he's got some magic running through his veins there.
What'd you think of this Monkey King backup? Any good?
No, I didn't like it, but
Is it Monkey King or Prince?
or
Sorry.
Monkey Prince. Yeah, Monkey Prince is like he's got a big role, or at least a lot of his characters have a big role in this because all the big, I guess, the big enemies, they're all, I don't read any of this Monkey Prince, but it's this King Bull, and you know, I think in the backup story they talk about that Devil Neza, and he was a good guy. Well, not a good guy, but he wasn't the Devil Neza. He was just Neza back then.
Right.
And, going with the Monkey King, and they were out doing their business.
I didn't read this, but this panel alone on this page with a lot of the supernatural characters almost made me want to check this out when I was putting the art together. But we didn't have enough time prior to the show.
But it's not a bad read, It's like it's a big DC event.
Yeah.
Spinning out of that Batman and Robin or Batman versus Robin,
Right.
because how he's kind of capturing all the magic people and sucking the magic out of them. That's where they all ended up. That's why they're there together.
Okay.
And I think now that the Dr. Fate helmet has been broken, they might be getting all their magic powers back, but they might be all sort of in different forms or not as they'd hope, I guess. And maybe that's what's happening out in all the tie-ins. Who knows? But if I did buy it, I wouldn't be upset. But I'm not getting sucked into this Lazarus Planet baloney.
Too many tie-ins too. Like it's crazy. Yeah, it's like a crazy amount. It's like 8 issues a month or some shit.
Not even the title of their tie-ins makes any sense. Like Assault on Krypton. They're not assaulting on Krypton. It's like Supergirl fighting them or Power Girl. That's one team's going out there.
Yeah.
So, but
so what'd you give this?
Anyways, yeah, I did still give it decent, like you say. So I'd say I'd give it a 3.75.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then we got Miles Morales, Spider-Man #2.
Basically, I just bought this because it was one of the homage variant cover. This looks better in the thumbnails than it does in real life, though. It's not bad, but yeah. And the story, I think the story here is pretty decent. If I wasn't, I might continue reading this Miles Morales online. The art inside is great. I think we got Misty Knight in here. It's the first time I've read, I think I've seen Misty Knight when she was part of the Spider-Man Beyond arc there. I didn't really care much for her then, but here she seems to be a bit more of a better character, at least with Miles Morales. And I think there's some new villain that was revealed here or made their first appearance, Ramble or Rumble, I don't know what it is. And you got the Scorpion there, he's been upgraded. So that's some good stuff going on in this. And yeah, I think it's pretty decent. And if I wasn't trying to cut down comics, I'd probably kind of continue on reading this one, and I think all the A covers of this have been pretty decent too.
Is this the guy here? Is this the new villain?
Yeah, it's some girl or something, and it's always been, I don't know, missed upon or underestimated, things like that, and I guess she's back in business.
Okay.
But no, it's fun stuff. Good stuff, at least. Maybe not fun stuff, but good stuff.
What'd you give this one?
I'd have to give it a 3.75 too. I did like reading it.
Nice. Okay, good. I got Danger Street #2. As I mentioned earlier, as I teased, this is the other Tom King book that's coming out right now. Art's by George Fornes or Jorge Fornes. I don't know. These Georges, these Spanish guys. There's too many Spanish artists now. I don't know how to say it, like which one they go by or what the deal is there. But this, I don't know. They're all spelled with J's. I don't know. Anyways, this artist is great on this book. He worked with him on the Rorschach series that he did previous to this, and I think he did Omega Man with him. Like he's done a couple of series with this artist. This guy's really He did some Daredevil with Chip Zdarsky, a couple of issues, I believe, this artist earlier in the last launch. This artist is great. I just wanted to say that because I'm probably going to trash the rest of this book now. I just want to say the art is not the problem here. Here's the thing, as I mentioned with the other book with Tom King, like you said, you're like, that's an obscure character, the human target, but it kind of had a premise going for it and a way to bring you in, and you didn't really need to know who he was. Where in this book, he is using several fucking obscure characters, like D-list people that we've never fucking seen for like 50 years, I find. Like I said on the first issue, I don't know who this is for. Definitely there is a story being told here. It seems like it's going to be another well-paced, put-together story when it's all said and done. I'm dropping this in issues, though. I might revisit it when the collection's out, but it's just like, it's like, I know all these characters somewhat, but at the same time, this is such a fucking hard sell because, like, he's not really explaining a lot of who these characters are. They're super obscure, and I just don't know who this book is for, like what kind of a good entry point this is to these characters, these underused characters and rarely ever seen. I mean, until you get to the end of this issue, it's a bunch of people that I bet you 80% of people, unless you're really old and a fucking DC diehard, don't even know. Like probably even 90%, I would say. And then you get to the end, and then you see, I mean, this guy's the Creeper. Like these are classic characters because they're made. Like a lot of these guys were made by Jack Kirby. Creeper was made by Steve Ditko. Like these are legendary kind of creators that made these guys. But these are characters that were left behind, like in the '60s. Like so, like I feel like we've seen them pop up and we've seen them revamped and you know, people have tried to take a stab at some of these characters over the years, but like it seems like this is just like him like, let me just use all these obscure characters and tell an interesting story. It's you know, it's got to be challenging, right? So like it's just hard to wrap my head around that who this. I don't know who the audience is for this book. Like I'm willing to give him a chance because I'm like, I like the guy's writing and stuff. But even me, I'm like, I'm not reading this issue to issue because it's so unclear as to where this story is going. It's a 12-issue story with a bunch of people I barely know. So yeah, it's a hard sell, man. Yeah, you see Darkseid at the end of this issue, essentially, though. Like there's a whole New Gods thing possibly going on, which that could be really interesting. But again, I'm out. This is that last issue I pre-ordered. It's not bad. Like I'm going to give it a 3 because I said the art's really good and you can tell it's well written and there is a story that's being told here. I think that's worth checking out, but not in issues and maybe not even without some research first because like he's really giving you no context to a lot of these characters. Like he's like, you know, they're just showing up. He's moving them around the chessboard, like trying to, you know what I mean? Like trying to put this story together. You get like 2 pages or 3-page scenes of each of these characters throughout each issue so far. And I don't know. It's a tough sell, man. I gotta say. So I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm not gonna hate it on it completely because like I feel like it's well done. It's just like I don't know who it's for. So not for me, that's for sure. Then you got Bone Orchard, Mythos, 10,000 Black Feathers, number 5. This is Jeff Lemire series. I don't have the preview art for this one. I wasn't able to get it together for this issue, but this was the last issue of this mini series. This is another book. If they come out with future mini series in this world, which he said he's planning on doing, I'm probably not going to pick up in issues. Might just collect the big hardcover collections that they'll put out, which I'm sure they're going to because it's like a bunch of interconnected miniseries that they're doing. And you know, it was a horror book. It was about a girl going back to a town where her friend disappeared, and you know they thought she was dead. And if she found out she was like in some sort of like weird D&D type fantasy type world that was like in her mother's basement behind like a piece of wall or something like that. So like in this issue, she goes in there, she goes back to her old mother's house and she goes inside this hole in the wall that takes her to some other place. And that I guess her friend has been stuck this whole time and taking capture and is stuck in this world. And she goes to save her. And then by the end of the issue, it kind of leaves on a cliffhanger where they're just fucked. Like this is their home now, essentially. She's like, well, it's time to go home. And then they find out they can't go home. So they're just like, okay, well, I guess we're stuck here. And like, and then in the end, you see like the mother come to the basement and she like covered up the wall. So I'm just like, was this woman behind all this? I don't know. It kind of left on like a crazy cliffhanger like that, where it's like, dun, 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 you know, like a horror movie where it's like a twist turn of fate, like where the person gets fucked over at the end. Right. So I guess something like that is like a Tales from the Crypt or some shit like that, right? Like, so I don't know. I guess that's it for this miniseries. They're going to continue to tell stories in like this world that I guess are horror related or supernatural related. But again, for what this was, it was fine, but it wasn't anything spectacular. I give this a 3.5, and I'm not going to read these in issues anymore, too. There you go, on the chopping block. That's two things that I've dropped now from my just talked about, but I had to talk about them, guys. Got to be honest here. So next up, we got Batman Joker, the Deadly Duo #3. This book's awesome. What do you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, I read this one online, and this is definitely one of the ones I wish I kind of went to get, but at the time I was just, overloaded on Batman stuff. The art here is great again. This is a bit more of I guess, a violent story as well here. Batman's a little not so PG Batman here.
Yeah.
And, even with I guess the hostage scene there,
Yeah.
Finally, they say, hey, I'm going to kill these people. They freaking actually do. And not that that's a good thing, but it's nice to see that it happened. And, the scene with Batman interrogating the Joker, I thought that was great too.
I gotta say, out of all the issues so far, and I don't mean this in a bad way by any means, because I did enjoy this issue. This is probably the weakest one so far, only because we're in the middle of the story at this point, and they're really moving the story along here. But they had to connect a lot of scenes, and they had to actually progress the story so much in this particular issue. But that's what I mean by like it was needed and necessary because we are in the middle of the series right now. But I gotta give them I gotta congratulate their decision, Mark Silvestri, whatever, who's writing the story here, to wait till this third issue to the end to actually get this deadly duo together. Like, it took them at least a couple of issues to build the story of why the fuck would Batman team up with the Joker.
Yeah.
And he's kind of stuck in this position now where like he feels like he's been forced to because there's some sort of connection between him and whatever the hell's going on, and Batman's kind of at his wit's end here trying to figure this shit out, and people are dying. Like Chris said, there's this hostage scene in this where 2 people get killed and he can't save them. So like things are not looking so great here. This full bondage scene, like mask scene, is fucking weird. I don't know what's going on with this bondage mask of the Joker that he's not like so he can protect the sanctity of the Bat Cave. I don't know why he has this costume, but okay. It's really strange. Like he's got like the gimp like from Pulp Fiction that comes across from him as he's interrogating him. I'm like, this is a weird scene, but as a visual, it was pretty awesome. I've never seen this kind of thing as for the Joker in a comic book before. I know everyone's freaking out because apparently he was pregnant in some other series recently, but this was pretty wild too. I thought him in a bondage suit of some sort.
I think there's more Harley Quinn in this too. That's one of the things that got me in the first issue. We haven't seen much of her since she was captured.
Yeah, and like same with Gordon. Like we got that one scene of them chopping off like a piece of him and sending it in the mail to him, which again, it's a darker book. It's out of continuity in that sense, but we haven't really seen him again since that scene either. So I'm sure that's where they're headed. We're probably going to get more of them, I think, as they actually make their way to wherever the hell they're imprisoned in this series. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it certainly moved the story along. I thought it was another decent issue, and the art's fantastic. But I just felt like out of it, there wasn't as many big things that occurred in this issue because they needed to kind of really fill in a lot of the story in order to progress it forward, right? So, yeah. So, what'd you give this one?
I might give it I don't want to give it a 3.5. I think that's too low. But I'll give it a 3.75.
Same. That's what I'm giving it. 3.7. Yeah. All right. Next up, we got X-Men number 18. X-Men 18.
Yeah, I got the cover here. Nice.
What'd you think of this?
I don't know why they got this guy on the cover for this one. If anybody should be on the cover, they should have the two Wolverines there. And I thought that was Rogue that he was flying with in the beginning, but I guess that turned out to be Wolverine.
Yeah.
Or I guess Laura. It's Laura Kinney, right? The old lady Laura or something. I don't know what they want to call her here.
Yeah, because they established in this issue, it seems like the younger version is going to keep she's keeping the Wolverine name, and the older one is not going to be keeping.
Yeah. She's they had good reasons for all that. I like all the stuff here with I guess the Exterminators tie-in. I don't know if this is happening before or after the actual Exterminators series. I imagine it's before.
Yeah, this made me think that there's going to be a future for them past that miniseries, honestly.
Could be. I don't know. Maybe it is a popular series, but that's encouraging to see. I like all the interaction between the two Laura Kinneys. I thought that was great. I get to see him, slice and dice there when they're fighting back to back. And, they seem to come to some sort of understanding. And it all ties in the last page there with some of the other stuff I'm reading, so I'm kind of excited for that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this issue. Again, this is another example, I feel like, of a series that's like, we're 18 issues in. I've quite enjoyed this series the whole way through. And I think they've just built up enough, characters and character interactions and storylines that are kind of all weaving together. And not only that, uh, integrating certain things that are happening in the X universe, like you said, with
Yeah,
the Exterminator showing up in this issue, that like even an issue like this where like the story didn't progress too forward and like not too much happened, I just enjoy my time being with these characters and reading it. Like it's just
yeah,
this.
I think you'll find it's very connected to the sort of X-Men universe, let's say, or the X-Men, titles and worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this issue, and I think it just speaks to, like, I think a lot of the work that this whole team has been doing since they've kind of, reset everything with this Krakoa stuff, right? And I think I actually might prefer the Jerry Duggan run of the X-Men to the Hickman one, surprisingly. Maybe not like the House of X, Powers of X thing that he did. It set all this stuff in motion, but the main series that Hickman did, and he did about maybe 18 or 20 issues too. I might like this better, man. I like a lot of the things that are going on in this book. I like a lot of the characters. I like that we've switched up the team now halfway through this run
Yep.
already with that yearly council voting thing. I thought that was cool. The art's always really good on this book. It's a good book, man. I'm really enjoying X-Men actually right now. The main title, absolutely. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, and then the Brood shit that shows up at the end there. That's Cyclops' father there.
Yeah.
Captain
Nice
Court.
little story there. I got one bullet left, and it's for B.
Fucking the Starjammers. That's
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, no, that's I'm looking forward to see what happens next. What did you give this?
I'll give it a 4. I could
Same.
even give it a bit more too, but I look forward to these X-Men issues now.
Same. Yeah, no, it's 4, solid 4 all day. And I think that's usually the case. Like I said, I feel like even on an issue like this where not too much happened, it's just like it's nice just to see all these characters interact with one another. It's a great book. So Savage Avengers #9, Chris.
This was one I thought it was dropping, but I don't know. I keep on coming back to it. It's a nice homage cover. I'm not sure if I even ordered it, but I don't know. They're kind of going through all their list there, and maybe they just ordered for me because I've been ordering all of them along. But I think where we last left them, all these Savage Avengers, they were turned into sort of these death locks, and they're chasing down the Punisher and I guess the Renegade Deathlock, the Miles Morales Deathlock. They're battling Ultron and his Deathlocks. I've seen Deathlock a lot, but they look like they're about to die, and then freaking Doom comes in out of nowhere. And I still think this is the same Victor Von Doom from like now, and that he's just lived all this time because that's what Doom does.
Yeah.
And he comes in to save the day. He buys him some time. He holds off Ultron's army, and then the Savage Avengers come in as I guess Ultron's lackeys. Now they're all super powered. And I guess Miles Morales there has to figure a way how to try and save him. And then they gets into a little bit of hokey stuff. Because basically, he goes into their cybernetic minds and he sees each one of them are all trapped by their own fears. And he has to say, oh, don't be afraid. You can do it. So there's a lot of time wasted with them trying to break this spell that Ultron has on them.
Hmm.
And then eventually they do, but they're all messed up from, I guess, some nanotechnology, and I don't know, they jump in some vat and they all come out healed again. So I guess that's comics. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But I think the next issue might be the last issue to this arc, or while they're in the 2029 timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how this series is running, if they're just going to jump into different timelines trying to find their way home. But it's still always fun, They bring in a lot of characters there that you haven't seen in a while.
Mm-hmm. So what'd you give it?
And I'll give this a 3.5. Okay. I like the cover, but it's a little bit of a hokey story, but that's a nice comic sort of Elseworld tale.
Mm-hmm. Next up we got Daredevil #7.
My issue here.
Daredevil #7. What'd you think of this?
Well, things are starting to happen here. I guess Daredevil takes his team out there for a walk in the park to see how they do. They seem to do pretty well. And it's nice that they say, that he's been on this island for a few months now. So you got a timeline of how
Yeah.
long this has been going on. This isn't just happened in a week or something like that. These guys have been there, they're doing their thing. I guess a bit of friction between Daredevil and his queen there, Elektra. And I don't know. I just want to see him fight the Punisher. That's what the Beast's army, and it looks like that's happening. I don't know. Like I say, I don't know if this is happening concurrent with the Punisher. If they're going to be kind of going back and forth between the issues, I kind of hope they do.
Yeah.
But if it's all self-contained in the Daredevil series, that's okay too.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could live outside of one another with still referencing each other's events like they kind of have been doing up to this point. But I hear you. I wouldn't mind having a crossover between those two books either. Yeah, this is great. This kind of is same thing I said about the X-Men book. I feel about this book. They got a lot of balls in the air. They got a lot of interesting things going on in this book. Even in an issue where I feel like there's not too much that's going on, I just enjoy my time reading this title. This is another great title, especially after the last couple of issues. I think maybe the last one was even my favorite of the week. One of the last couple, it's been great. And this issue was no different. I thought this was another really good issue. The way they keep ending these last two issues, though, the fact that the Avengers are coming, and then there's the whole thing with the Punisher, like some shit's about to go down, man. Every issue, it's just like, oh, watch out! Like it just keeps building and building, and I just want to point out how messed up is it that he's basically trying to reform these criminals, escapes them out of prison, and then forces them to try to do good deeds in order to justify their existence, and the fact that he basically and then Kingpin's strange son here. I think that's who that guy is. I think he basically he points that out, and then there's a whole thing where they trap him because he goes for his family with the hand there, and Punisher, and yeah, it's just a lot of great stuff going on in this series. He's basically a bad guy now, though. Like what he's doing is wrong. He knows it's wrong. He's trying to make it work so badly because he's so fucking deep in what he's doing right now. There's even the moment where the guy's like, well, yeah, I'm not getting a regular Joe job though. He's like, but I can't do this anymore. Listen, you want me to do good? I'll try to do good. And he feels his heartbeat. He's like, oh, he seems to be telling the truth. And then he's like, yeah, I got to go see my kids. I'm sorry, I can't do this island thing. He's like, oh, okay, well, if you ever need to come back, just come back to this island because I'm going to make this work. And it's kind of such a ridiculous premise, but it's interesting. I don't know. It's so weird that he's got this island and he's trying to reform these people. They're all training there and you got everybody locked in like Stick and Elektra. I'm just like, what is going on in this book? It seems that it's really getting weird, this one. And
well, I like that speech he has at the end because it looks like they are going, they're readying the battlefield there.
Yeah.
And he just kind of tell them, look, I know we're not ready, but you don't have to come for this. This is why I brought you here, is to fight, pure evil. You don't have to hold back. You're fighting evil. And they got a kid. And then everybody's like, sounds like, he's really rallying the troops there.
Yeah, but he even questions it himself in this issue. He's like, I wonder when I can let these people leave the island. He's trying to justify him leaving. He's like, well, it's for his kids, so okay, I'll allow you to go. He's like, but here's my card. You can always come back. I'm just like, what?
Well, even that card he gave him, that was more to spy on him too. I know. That wasn't just a beacon that, so if you need help, give me a call. It's like, okay, well, you can call me, but I'll know where you are all the time, and you know what you're up to.
Because Elektra says that to him. He's like, oh, you didn't tell him? He's like, no. He's like, oh, you're I'm like, you're a fucking straight up shithead villain at this point, man. This is crazy what's going on. It's such a stretch because I don't know how you can justify this in your mind that what he's doing. I know he's trying. He's really trying. He's trying to make a go of it. But even that guy was like, listen, I see what you're doing here, but this,
it's trying a different way, I guess. Yeah. Because that's the crux of the story there. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, he always deals with morality of issues of whether or not things are, what I mean? He's had a lot of that kind of stuff, right? Go on in this series. I think that's a theme that Zdarsky tapped into that I think is always been a part of Daredevil.
Well, even when he's taking his group out there for a little test run, he's fighting the police, really. And it's not like the police are doing anything wrong. They're just enforcing the law. And, he's taking them out.
Well, this all started at the start of the Zdarsky series. I don't know if you went back and read the start of it or not, Chris, but it starts out, if I remember correctly, with him accidentally killing somebody, like in combat, like on the street.
Yeah.
He hit somebody too hard, and he ended up killing him. And then that's kind of what Spider-Man kind of came and visited him, and he's like, "Listen, like you gotta like." You can't do this anymore. You're not fit to be doing this anymore. Like you killed somebody in battle, and
And that's why he went to jail, right?
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, so he's been through it. So I think like this is all kind of coming full circle, because I think that's why he feels that he needed to do this for these other people to give them a second chance, because he felt like. But then at the same time, he brings the law down on them with the lawyers showing up. And they think, oh, you're not getting these people out of this community housing. Guess what? Lawyers.
Yeah. Like, I'm an okay superhero, but I'm a great lawyer. Like that line kind of came out of nowhere.
But like the fact that he's using the law, like, and it was also breaking the law at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great, man. It's really good. It's got layers to it. That's for sure. So what'd you give this
for
one?
Sure. I'll give it a 4. I'm liking Daredevil too.
Same. Yeah. Solid stuff. 4. 4 out of 5. Dark Web, Mary Jane, and Black Cat number 2 is next up as we get into our Dark Web corner of the night here.
That's it.
Yeah. This where the hell is this here? There we go. How about this one, Chris?
Well, I think the art is great in this one. The story seems to be losing a bit of steam, or maybe I've just been reading too much Black Cat, and it's kind of starting to kind of follow a formula or something. You know, oh, we're going to need you to steal something, and all that sort of business. But I didn't know who this guy was here. I guess I thought he was Mephisto for some reason, but I guess that wouldn't track.
Yeah,
but I think as I read on, they kind of reveals who he is. You know. But it's more just sort of following the formula. You know, you got to go steal the sword. There's other people here that are looking to get you. And, you know, I guess you're in limbo. So that's a little bit different this time. And you're doing with Mary Jane. It's not bad. Nothing great.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I agree with you. I am happy about the art on this series, though, because this would be a really fucking hard sell if the book.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm hoping by the end of this, again, they reference that she's been gone for several months. I don't know what the hell's going on there. They kind of hint at it again, and they're like, see issue 1. I'm like, yeah, see issue 1, where they don't fucking explain what happened.
Yeah, like this, and like, were they referencing that she was gone maybe more than 6 months?
Yes. She's like, oh yeah, 6 months, and she's
and it's like,
so I don't
know. Yeah, like, did she like go into some time portal, and that's where she freaking got these kids or something?
I mean, if we're not going to find out the secret of what happened to her by the end of this series, we definitely better get Black Cat admitting that she's basically in love with Peter by the end, because like that's kind of like something that's like an ongoing. We've had 2 issues of her mentally thinking about this stuff, like dialoguing about how the hell, how can she not tell Mary Jane that she's interested in her ex? And
I'm worried that Mary Jane's going to tell her something that happened during that 6 months where Black Cat's going to have to back off and say, I can't do this. This isn't right.
Maybe.
Because that's basically the path always is, finally get together, but now she has to leave him because it's the right thing to do,
Yeah.
Like she has to put her feelings aside to do the right thing, but who knows?
Yeah.
Like freaking those kids could be her and Peter's kids for all we know. That guy never says that he's the father. He could be a stepfather. Whatever happened in this 6 months, who knows?
See, that's why, like, my theory at the start of all this was that it was the timeline of the one that you just read, the renew your vows or something like that.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was something like that where he went off and was living in another timeline, and that's like kind of picking up on that whole thing about them having. Or the shit before the whole Mephisto thing, like the one more day thing, where they
because at the end of that Amazing Spider-Man, remember there's like I went back to reread that.
There is that stuff going on.
There's something happening at the end, like there's that big light or something, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? Oh, it'll all be revealed in the new Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man comes up, and there's a freaking big, crater in the ground. So yeah, something big could have happened, between the end of Spider-Man and the beginning of this run here. So maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I hear in March they're going to start explaining it. But
is that
I think I don't know. But what did they say? Okay, it was a crater, and that's they're going to reference it in one panel or something, and that's it. So,
I think it's weird that there's two books where there's a crater involved that they're not explaining what it is right now. So the same thing's happening in Fantastic Four.
yeah,
And if somehow they're not related, it's gonna be really fucking weird.
yeah. Like, we got to stop having these meetings where these guys keep on stealing each other's ideas and using them at the same time.
Yeah, Seb Wells, the guy writer of this.
Oh, a crater! Hey, I can use that.
Craters, yeah.
It's just a race to put your crater in the comic before the other guy does or the other team does.
Oh man. Okay, so what'd you give this then? It's a decent tie-in though. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a decent time. It's characters I love, so but I'll give it a 3.5. I got to be honest, it's nothing crazy.
I think I'll give it a 3.75. I maybe liked it a little bit more than you in that sense because I'm just really digging Dark Web right now, I feel like. But yeah, I'll give it 3.75. But yeah, nothing spectacular. But I think it's worth it.
And are they going to talk about how maybe Black Cat is giving Mary Jane all this bad luck with their powers there?
I don't know. I mean, they keep hinting at, like, it seems like they like as the readers, you're like, oh, that's clearly what's going on, but like they haven't figured it out yet for themselves. It seems like.
Right? I think I know how she's going to lose her powers too. I imagine she's going to hit those 3 skulls, and then her powers are gone. Or well, who knows?
Yeah, because I can't see.
We're going to have to get rid of her powers sooner or later.
Yeah, no, I can't see her keeping the powers outside of this. No.
Yeah, outside of the series here.
Yeah, no. All right, and lastly, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 17, the Dark Web tie-in issue. Chris, what'd you think of this?
I know what's with this cover, though. But outside of the cover, I thought this comic is better than I thought it should be. I don't know why I like it so much. I thought it was great. I should hate it.
Thank you. I love this fucking issue. I'm just going to chime in. I love this issue. I laughed like 5 times throughout reading this issue.
Like, even just the way they mixed up their names.
Yes. Yeah, the ongoing joke of that. Oh, Jim Jameson Johnson or whatever.
Yeah, what is them? The Crawlwaller or the Parker Man or whatever.
Crawler Wall or Sprawler or something like that. Yeah.
Once again, I think the art is selling this though too. This is the perfect artist for this. If this was that John Romita Jr., his art is sort of, it's down on your luck art. This is like fun, fun, bright, kind of crazy stuff. And, even just having with Chasm there too. They just talk as people. They're not there freaking fighting it out. He's like, here, you got to eat this apple, and he can figure it out. I got to eat this apple on purpose, and we'll figure it out. I just thought this was. It's 10 times better than I think it should have been.
That's the thing, though. It's really working for me, too. This is such a ridiculous event, and they're doing it right because they're leaning into how fucking ridiculous the shit that's happening in it is. Like, even Madeline Pryor in this, like, when he's talking about, like, oh, yeah, look what I got cooking, and, like, he's
she's like, oh, fuck.
He's like,
I picked a moron as a partner.
Sinister Six. She's like, yeah, well, I got things to do. You have fun with whatever that is.
Yeah.
It was so funny, the dialogue, and like you said, the fact that they brought it up, it was like an ongoing joke throughout the issue, where like they would fuck up the name. They're like, not even close. Like they're like, wow,
yeah.
This or something like that. I fucking laughed out loud, like honestly, like 4 or 5 times reading this issue. I was like, this is fucking great. Insidious 6, and it was just like, and then like you said, they don't call him Raw Crawler, they call him like Crawlwaller or something like that, like. It's just like they're demons that like have no purpose that he's repurposing to use like as like creating some scenario fake world that Peter's supposed to be living in limbo. It's just premise is really, and like even like you said, like he has him sitting there and he's like leaning up against the trees, like hey, so it's like what kind of stupid event is this? But they're it's working, man. This is one of those things where it's so stupid but they're like embracing it, and this is what's the great thing about comics sometimes. Like when it works like this, it works, man. Like it's
like great. After reading this one, I do want to almost read the Miss Marvel tie-ins and see what's going on over there. Like if it's just as crazy as this.
Yeah.
Like the whatever the X-Men one, it's good, but it's not crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it is a bit crazy. Got those stupid puppies flying around his head, but it's more of a serious tone, let's say.
Between this and the X-Men one, and even Black Cat's decent. Like we just finished talking about. I'm loving this event, man. I think especially these two, this and the X-Men, fucking great.
Yeah.
Both of them, in my opinion. They're both great. Like this, look how stupid these creatures are. It's so oh man, I had so much fun with this. And like the thing that showed up at the end, Wreck
Yeah.
Rat. Instead of Parker, it's like spelled back.
And he's freaking awesome, this guy. He's like, what's that? I don't know, it reminds me of one of those Morlocks from back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, what a fun time, man. I'm having
Yeah, but like I say, but the cover of this comic, it's freaking looks like, they should have a different cover. That's all I gotta say. That's the worst part about this one is that cover.
Yeah, the fucking shitty John Romita connecting covers of him just floating in green shit.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything that's going on in there.
They should have got McGinnis doing the covers. I agree, and have some sort of funny scene with those limbo demons or something like that. Yeah, because like you said, the contents of the book, you open it up and you think it's going to be some super self-serious event.
Yeah, exactly. Oh fuck, Spider-Man's gonna be, it's
like most of them are.
Yeah.
Like most of them are, and then you open it and you're like, "What the fuck is happening in this book?" There's like weird demon creatures.
Yeah, they're trying to make him relive his life on in New York. There, crazy.
And then they're like, "No, J. Jonah, Jim Sitter, whatever. You're supposed to yell at him. I want tasty pictures of Spider-Man." He's like, he's like, "All right, I'll do it. Hey, I want tasty."
Yeah, and they're like, they'll go crazy after he says it.
So stupid, so stupid, but so fun,
Yeah, better than it's better than it has any right to be.
No, I know. What'd you give this one?
I got it. 4.25. I'd almost push a 4.5 on it.
5. That's how much fun I had with this comic. 5. It deserves it. I don't care. It's way better than it has any right to be, like you said. I think it's excellent. I'm really having fun. This is my favorite Dark Web, even more than the X-Men ones, which I made both my favorites of the week. Both issues I made those my favorite of the weeks when they came out. But this was just so fucking funny to me. And if a comic makes me laugh more than once like this one did, I have to give it a 5 just based off that, because it's hard. It's hard to really get me to love with a character I love too. You know?
Well, that's a plus of this for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like you said, it's on paper, this is so stupid. This like it's such a stupid 90s type event, but it's been fun. Like, and I think it's because it's not taking itself super serious. It's Judgment Day, like, you know what I mean? Like, where it's just like gloom and doom and gonna change and fucking let's do 17 different books. Like, and the tie-ins have actually been good. Like, it's been decent, man. Like, and it's gonna be done in 2 months. This is like a 2-month event. Like, it's like not like let's stretch this over a fucking year with an alpha and an omega and a one. Yeah, it's too much, man. That shit sometimes. Yeah. So, all right. So I'm gonna change the name of this category because me and Chris are reading things online digitally as well too. So I'm gonna try to look more into like what I'll be reading online the next week as opposed to what we're also picking up. So maybe I'll change this name to what we're planning on reading next week. So, anyways, Chris, do you have your list ready there for?
Yeah. So next week it's Avengers Forever 13. Hulk 11, Immortal X-Men 10, Punisher 9, Strange 10, Venom 15, Nightwing 100. Not much DC coming out for me next week. And there might be a few Image comics that I'm not aware that are coming out, but I don't think anything from Image is coming out that I'm following right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and then as always, guys, our lists sometimes change. Sometimes we'll read a couple extra things to beef up the list, or if we have time, what have you. But yeah, small DC week for me next week as well. I got Batman, Superman, World's Finest, Nightwing 100. Really excited for that. You got Dark Web X-Men number 3. That's the conclusion of that. So that's
yeah. I'll probably read those ones too, but I don't think I didn't buy them.
Yeah, Hulk 11, Immortal X-Men 10. Then I got Old Dog 3 from Image. Now I said number 4 is supposed to come out this week, but that got pushed back. And that's why number 3 is coming out next week. So the scheduling, they had it as 4 this week on my list last week, but it was a mistake. So Punisher 9, really looking forward to that. And Strange 10, which is going to be the end of that series, actually wrapping up. And that's it for me next week. Strange 10. So yeah, decent size week. What? 8 books. Yeah, that's a good number. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, every week I think I'm getting a small list and I freaking come home with a stack of comics again, because I think last time I didn't get my DC from the week before, so they came in this week.
Yeah.
Well, went there. I thought I was going to come home with like 5 comics. I forgot I ordered the Miles Morales variant cover.
Yeah.
I think I was supposed to get another Mary Jane and Black Cat variant cover, but that didn't come in.
No.
But anyways, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen to me in a couple weeks now too, because when they reorder the books, like my Marvel physical copies didn't come in this week at my shop, guys, so I ended up having to read them digitally. But when they reorder that stuff, if there's ever a mistake and the orders get missed or whatever, I gotta wait 2 weeks for the issues to come in. So, like you said, I'm gonna have a huge friggin' week 2 weeks from now because like all my Marvel books from this week will be coming in then, right?
Yeah.
So it happens, but all right. So Chris, it's that time. Your favorite book of the week. I think it's pretty easy to tell which one's our favorite book of the week here.
Yeah. I was sitting on the fence on this one, but I didn't really have any front runners. I
Yeah.
got to go with Spider-Man.
Too. I mean, I gave it, not only did I give it a 5, I didn't give it anything else that. It was just the most fun I had with the book this week. I will say though, close runner up was Human Target. I thought this was also really fucking good.
Yeah, if I was reading that whole series, this was a big issue in that series for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so it was a good runner up, but yeah, I got to give it an Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, undeniably a good start to the year already for Spider-Man, man. It was one of our books of the year last year, and we'll see if it has another good year ahead of it here. I think if they keep things the same, I think between the story they're telling and the artists and writers involved in it, maybe it'll keep up that quality. But one can only hope, right? So
Yeah. We didn't get tied up in too many of these event type things. Because I guess I don't know if he's gonna be part of that summer of symbiotes coming up
yeah, I hope
in
not.
summer. But
I mean, it is a Spider-Man book, so it's always possible. But I also
yeah,
feel like
I think the symbiotes have kind of taken on their own world. Apart from Spider-Man, he doesn't. I don't know why I always want to try and get Venom and Spider-Man together anymore. Like,
that's what I
not
mean.
really.
They
They
can
have no business together, really.
they can exist outside of one another, right? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe if you want to have them come swing through in a issue of the event in the Venom book, okay, whatever. But like in terms of like, yeah, it invading the Spider-Man book, I agree. I don't feel like that should be a thing always. So I guess we'll see, because like at this point, like between the Venom and Carnage books, they could also they can do these spin-off miniseries of all the other fucking symbiotes they have now. Like
Yeah.
there's so many other ones that they can do that. What's that other one? The one that's got orange and black Scream. There's all these other ones,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I think the Gold Goblin, or not the Gold Goblin, the Red Goblin's coming out, and that's basically, I think that's a symbiote comic too.
Right. Yeah. So there you go.
We'll see.
Okay, guys. So that's going to do it for this week. We will see you next week. And, coming up probably in a couple weeks, there's probably going to be a new batch of solicits. So look forward to that. We always like looking at the books that are going to be coming out in the future as well. That's always interesting to hear. And if you guys missed it during the holidays, we put out an episode of our favorite books of the year and, some of our least favorite as well. We kind of did our first annual award show type thing where we kind of go over a lot of stuff we've read this past year and highlighted some good books. So if you guys are looking for things that we've enjoyed this past year, 2022, that you want to check out this year, definitely go back and check that out. That show out. It's a lot of great conversation about that kind of stuff. So, all right, Chris, we'll see you next time. Later, man.
All right, sounds good. Take it easy.